Well, hey, welcome to another youth ministry conversation. I'm here with Tim Smith. He's part of our coaching group, and we were talking a couple days ago about a thing he's doing with his high school seniors as they get ready to graduate, and I just had to bring it to you guys. So, Tim, hey, man, thanks for jumping in and having this conversation with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, man. It's great.
So you've been at your church there for just over a year. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been a wild year, but it's been super great.
Yeah. So you did something really cool that I thought was pretty unique with your seniors last year that I thought you could share with us. So, Tim, why don't you just give us kind of the broad overview, and then we'll get down into the nuts and bolts after that. So just give us kind of a wide stroke, wide view there.
Yeah, for sure. When I was a senior graduating high school, it was very much like we went to Disneyland and we did like really fun stuff. And this year, because of, COVID and just life and stuff like that, it was like, well, maybe we can't really do that project. So we're trying to think of what can we do that's a little bit more personal, a little bit more relational on our end. And, I was homeschooled, so I never got the high school Leatherman jackets or whatever they are. So I was like, what if we did something like that? Well, then we looked at them and they were almost like $700 a jacket. I was like, well, we don't have that budget. So one of the biggest things that I saw was a part of our network, they have bomber jackets and they put like the SoCal stuff on it. And I was like, that's actually super clean. And then it got me thinking, well, what if we just did bomber jackets and then, get the patching and put it on? So what we ended up doing is we found a guy, a local shop to do it. But you can even just get these patches on Amazon and either iron them or sew them on yourself. But it's just a bomber jacket, and it has the C because we're culture youth, and so C with alumni. And then on the other side, we have our logo on it. And then on the right hand side, we put the year. So obviously 22 and stuff. And these are really nice, but it's super like simple, super chill, and it cost us probably $180 to make this one. So a significant difference. Our pastors were like, yeah, let's do something really fun for it. And they gave us a little bit more in the budget to do that. So we actually got these bags too. So these bags have our logo on it. And then forward the culture is kind of our saying around here. So we put it in the bag with that. But one of the things too we wanted to challenge them with is like, okay, what can we give them as well? These things were probably I'd say about $50 to make. So we got about 50 of them. Super chill there. But Craig Rochelle has a book called Winning the War in Your Mind. And one of the things we wanted to do is, we gave them the jacket. We gave them some cool swag, but we wanted them to start walking away because we want their spiritual walk to continue. So we got them this book. And I've had a couple friends and a couple students that are like, hey, we love that book. We're so happy for it too. And put that together. And then we have a little swag box that we put it in. It's our merch box that we did. But and then we got a plaque, and it's just a plaque that has their name on it, their favorite scripture, the year they graduated, and then just a little something from Culture Youth that said we love you on it. We presented it to them. We prayed over them during the service. We turned the service kind of into like a banquet. So we set up tables. We had an entire photo booth balloon arch that we found on Amazon, I think for like $50 for the entire kit. We had some gold confetti that was left here at the church from some kids' VBS or something, and popped those at the end. And luckily enough, we had three students, so it didn't cost us too much. I think overall it cost us, it was definitely under $1,000 altogether, because the majority of the stuff we had on the church plates and stuff, and we did pizza. But we invited their families and some of their close friends to just say, hey, we want to honor you guys as you're moving forward and stuff like that. So we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Our team put on a great work to make this memorable for these students. But yeah, this was just something we wanted to do. And now I have juniors and sophomores that are like, oh man, like I want that jacket. And it's like, yeah, you have to keep coming to youth and stay. So it kind of keeps that momentum going.
Yeah. So talk about that, right? Is that something where, hey, it's the last Wednesday before graduation and I come for the very first time and boom, now I get all this stuff? Or do you have some kind of like some things set up before where it's kind of like, hey, you kind of have to be involved, for a little bit before? What's kind of your thought there?
Yeah, so we have a thing called Culture Crew, and that is our crew of seniors that are a part of our youth group, and they kind of halfway through their senior year, they jump into kind of like our leadership role. They're the ones that are helping film the podcast and emceeing the services and stuff. And so, pretty much what I do is I say, okay, the goal would obviously be, freshman to senior, right? But we do about a 6 to 8 month period. So within that 6 to 8 months before graduation, if they show up and they're consistent and things like that, that's when we usually like, okay, hey, for our seniors that have just showed up, hey, you want to stay here for the rest of the year, and for the rest of the school year, because we have something for you, but you need to be here. We need to see some commitment and stuff. And so, luckily enough, we actually implemented that this past year. And there was one who stayed for 6 months and stuff, and now they're serving, and it's awesome to see kind of that trajectory, because behind the scenes, like, yeah, we want you to come here, but also they're building relationship with other students. I have other leaders pouring into them. So not only are they staying for 6 to 8 months just to get this thing, if that's what it is, but they're coming through, and without even knowing it, like, God's working in their lives and building relationships. So the secret sauce behind it is getting them plugged in so they can build relationship and sustain their walk with the Lord.
Yeah, I love that thought. So many kids are homeschooled these days, right? And I'm sure a lot of us not only have homeschoolers, but have non-athletic people, right? Typically, Letterman jackets kind of go out to the athletes. I know there's others, for academics and things like that as well. They're kind of expanding more and more and more, but a lot of kids don't. And I think it's cool too that, it's not your typical Letterman's jacket, but you kind of took that idea. So any other ideas that you were kicking around that you thought, man, maybe that was a good idea, or maybe we might think about this in the future? Or do you feel like, man, you kind of dialed it in, or anything else you're kind of thinking about for the future?
Definitely. Yeah, no, we're going to go a little bit bigger next year, and stuff. And what I'm thinking of doing is actually, I feel like as far as I think every year a new leadership book will come out, a new book for them to get plugged into, for sure. Type of thing. The best part, we just launched our young adults program. And so I think the biggest thing next year is, okay, we have these seniors graduating. They're here for the rest of June, but come July, like, they need to go somewhere. So what we're thinking about doing is actually turning our senior ceremony on a Friday night, and we'll do it inside a bigger venue here at the church, and kind of go like black tie, really make it nice and fancy and honor them. But not only have Pastor Troy, our senior pastor, to come and pray over them too, but have our young adults directors come in too and speak life over them. And our young adults directors are actually leaders in our youth group. So there's relationship and there's a good transition there. But the goal is to make it a little bit more smoother for their transition. The jackets, I think we're locked in on those. The bags, we're locked in on them. They loved the awards. It wasn't like this plastic thing. It was like a plexiglass. It was $100 a person. And shout out to Google for finding it. But I think maybe not pizza, though. I think we'll do something like lasagna or something just a little bit more fancier.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea of bringing in, if you've got a young adults ministry, bringing them into that process and letting them make it more of a graduation, a kind of a baccalaureate, welcome entry to the young adults ministry, all of those, especially if you're in an area. I know, Tim, you're in San Diego where there's lots of college options. And so a lot of your students are probably going to be staying fairly local to go to a college, but staying local. And so probably a high probability they're going to be sticking around for that young adults ministry. I know a lot of people, that's not the case. A lot of your high school students leave your area to go out of state universities. But I'm sure a lot of them stay in the area for the workforce, things like that. And so this idea of bringing in the young adults ministry into that process is a great idea. And if you don't have a young adults ministry, then, I mean, it's potentially just kind of your senior pastor, even like welcoming you to adult ministries, something like that. I think it's a great idea of adding in some of those books. I love that, some gifts. So Tim, great ideas, great suggestions. I love that. There's, I just had this idea, even to kind of help with kind of the fundraising side. Maybe there's a local college ministry that might, donate some of the supplies. Maybe there's a local university that maybe like their recruiting office might help pay for some of those supplies. If you, throw in a little advertisement for the university, I don't know, maybe some internships around the area. So I don't know, I had that thought of maybe just reaching out to some of the kind of the young adults, college ministries in the area that might want to kind of pitch in a little bit to kind of support a little bit of those projects. But DIY, man, it'll work.
Yeah.
So
even your church, what I've learned is you have not because you've asked not, right? Like parents want to get involved. Hey, you're doing something for my kids. Like we'll pitch in. Your church will pitch in. We started doing a newsletter to our church, so they're understanding more relationally of what youth group is happening and what's going on through it. Like, hey, if you want to help support us, here's our next events that we're doing, and here's the cost of it. And your church wants to support you. Your congregation wants to help you. And it may not be at a bigger scale. It may be a smaller scale, or it could be a bigger scale, but you have not because you ask not. So
yeah, I mean, Letterman jackets, the schools don't pay for them. I don't think. I think pretty sure
I don't think so.
Pretty sure the parents take care of that. So I mean, it could be a thing where you kind of ask, and then maybe you're only having to supplement those that can't afford the whole thing or something like that. So lots of options out there. Great idea
for sure,
Tim. Love it, man. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Ryan.